What's up, YouTube fam? You may be asking yourself, what is Tony doing today? Well, you see this doing another one of these nail bottle shakers. You know, it shakes the bottles up to mix them properly. Kind of like a paint shaker, which same thing on a smaller scale, but they charge $100 for these things. And this one's brand new. And look, I didn't even touch it yet. See? That switch don't even work. It just went off on its own. It just saw my finger coming. That was crazy. So it won't turn off. While ago it didn't turn on. So it's just, all right, I gotta do the old tricks where I'm gonna hardwire this to this. All right, stick with me. For this job, I got my Blair cutters, which are, you know, basically spot weld removers. You know, we use them for a lot of different stuff in the machine industry. A set of those, it makes the job a lot easier. That's going to drill our hole. We got a little pilot drill in there. I'm going to locate it up top up here. It's got a good foundation, so flipping it off and on up top will not be a problem. But the reason I can't locate it here is because these toggle switches, I mean, unless I go and get a different low profile toggle switch, but the toggle switch runs into the little motors. We're just hooking this thing up directly, and I'm going to show you how to do it. You can use the fluke if you want to, or believe it or not, this thing's just 12 volt. It ain't 120, so you can clip this and touch. If you get a spark, you got the wrong wire. If you get it to run, then it's not going to mess anything up. These things, it can handle a lot more than that. Then obviously you got the right wire, so you can just mark it with whatever you want to mark it. I choose to use a zip tie to mark it with, so that then I start splicing everything together. But you butt connectors and your terminals, screwdriver. I'm just going to use a adjustable wrench, crescent wrench. You know, Crescent was the original ones that made that. That's why we call it a crescent wrench. I'm using my drill. I'm using a different drill this time. That one is because I left the other one in Louisiana, and I have this one here. And both great drills, no big deal. Crimper strippers, that's pretty much all we're going to need. So my first step is I'm going to go ahead and undo these screws down here at the bottom and take this back cover off. Okay, now that I got the screws out, you see what I'm dealing with in here. I'm going to take this little motherboard wannabe out of here and clip all this. Leave as much of this wire as I possibly can, because this is a smaller gauge wire than I actually have, so I just double it over because it's also smaller gauge for the smallest butt connector I have. So I'm going to clip that off next and move it. I'm going to leave that there so it just keeps the hole. No, that's right. I'm going to have to, that's where I'm going to run my wires through. Okay. And if you see on the back right here, that 12 volt adapter, it just slides right out of there like so. All right. And then we're going to disconnect the ribbon like that. And then, of course, I'll pull this apart. Now, I'm going to leave a model number and everything. I'll show you what the model number of this is, and I'll leave that all in the description, so if people ever have this problem, they can, because obviously, this is brand new. These things probably doing this a lot. So at this point, you can take this little guy and throw it wherever you want to. It's up to you. But clip that all the way up to the top, because you know you got your positive and negative. And the next trick is splicing this end off. Of course, unplug it from the wall, and then stripping it down a good ways, and then find out which one the positive and negative is to connect to here. Again, leaving as much as I can. Okay, take and peel this off and pull that out. Yeah, and peel that out. You'll see this little metallic looking little bumper switch there. Bubble switch, whatever you want to call it. That's what we're going to run our wires through. Might take some acetone to remove this sticky here. Or just cut that and put it back in its place and open that little hole up. Yeah, sometimes we just find out as we go. I just took some scissors and cut it all the way up to the black part there, cut straight across, put it back. Now, I'm going to leave a little length on this because I may end up using this for something else, but cut that off. All right, now peel those two apart and strip the ends. Now, I don't typically strip this far back, but since I'm going to be doubling it over, I'm going to need to go that far back. Now they're doubled over to receive my butt connectors, so it doubled in size. Same thing I'm going to do for these two wires. Now, when you go to strip the wire off the back that goes into the motor, hold on to it firmly, but don't damage the wire. But hold on to it so you don't pull it out of the back of the motor. Then you'll have another problem when you go to strip the insulation off. just like so, because I promise you, as hard as you got to pull on that plastic, it's a tough plastic, it will pull out of the back of that motor. Okay, I see what's going on here. Doesn't matter which one you put on there that's double grounded. So all it's going to do is make the motor turn one way or the other, whichever wire you put. So getting the fluke out for this really is you got to find out which way you want it to turn, which in this case, it doesn't matter which way it turns. It just needs to spin. But normally, you set it on volts, or you can set it on ohms. I'd use something like this pot here to ground with, and then find out which one is actually the hot wire. I'm sorry, on this, but it doesn't matter. So since I don't really care which way it goes, I just wire it. I mean, I guess you could eyeball it, but since we're being technical, you want to measure to make sure you're going far enough back to where that don't hit on your toggle switch. So that's what I'm going to do at this point, and I'll mark it up the top. I'll use this as my reference for center and mark a line going there, and then measure back and mark a line that way. Well, since I didn't bring my silver pencil like I intended to, I've just used a scribe and marked it and got it set. Now remember, class, always drink plenty of water when you tackle a big job like this, and wear your proper PPE. Okay, so we're going to drill. I got a center point. I was talking to Colton about speeds and feeds. I'm not going to use any lubricant because I'm trying to film this. But speeds and feeds are everything with a drill bit, man. And I like to use 135 as opposed to 118 degrees. But this speed control, I remember I worked at a machine shop where they had, were using 118 degree drill bits, and they weren't lasting for nothing. And I was working as a tool maker, and I said, let's try 135. Yep. Where I come from as working on aircraft, we use 135 and they seem to last a lot longer. This is really hard to do with holding the camera. But I thought this was aluminum, but it's not. It's a steel. I gotta put a magnet to that. But yeah, they started lasting a whole lot longer. And the owner of the shop came out and said everything, because if you're a machinist, you learn to cut your own tooling. You don't keep spending a lot of money on tooling, or the shop won't keep you around. So cut everything at 135 degrees, and yep, they started lasting. Okay, yeah, it is. I thought didn't feel as heavy as steel, but a magnet did slightly stick to it. So I don't know what kind of metal they cast that out of. Okay, I just went ahead and finished my pilot hole there. Yeah, I needed both hands on the drill. All right, so see how this guy's got the little point on there. You just put it in the pilot. Oh, and incidentally, I put something down to cover that motor just so nothing got up inside there or anything like that. Okay, as you can see how that's cutting there, it's doing a really good job. Unfortunately, I've got to have both hands on the drill. Well, actually one hand on this, but you can cut it with a step drill, unibit. Anything that'll cut a 1/2 inch, it's a nominal 1/2 inch hole. So yeah, it's not brain science, guys. But if you do use one of these, you probably want to use a little coolant. But take your time, be patient with it. Prior preparation prevents piss poor performance, guys. Excuse me, proper prior preparation. Yeah, 7 P's. But keep it slow and cool, and keep your relief, your flutes, cleaned out, and it'll do a great job. And there we have it. Sorry guys, didn't mean to make the video all about cutting the hole, but it's kind of important, and I digress a lot. You know me, I can't just not talk about one thing, right? But now I'm going, me being technical, I got a deburr knife. I'll deburr that hole, and I'll set my toggle switch in there, which is down here. Yeah, always put you some towels and stuff down if you're gonna be doing this indoors. Okay, so at this point I've kind of cleared my work area, got rid of a lot of the tools that I'm not going to be needing anymore, and I'm just OCD like that, guys. Sorry. Okay, so I've installed my toggle switch, and I have about 3/8 of an inch clearance between that and the little movement action of that screw. And I've already took the liberty of twisting the wires and double them over to receive my butt connectors and terminal. Okay, so take you a length of wire. Pretty much the smaller the better, but I'm using a 16 gauge wire here, but you're going to want to strip it back about 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8, and put your butt connector on. Just like that. And I have found that these pliers, and this is for several years, a long time, these pliers work better than any regular crimping pliers. These are actually for cable crimping, but they work. They never come loose, and they work on just any type of automotive, industrial wiring. I've used them for years, and never do they pull out, ever. I know they're not to code, but they work way better. I mean, it is what it is, guys. For years I've been using those. And plus, they're really good for getting into those hard reach places. All right, so you want to cut it long. That's why you don't even strip this end yet. So you can find out how long you want to get to reach there and then cut it off. Okay, I've done the clipping, and now I've installed my terminal connector, and I'm going to attach it, and then I'll go get my plug and start working on it. Alright, so at this point you want to remove your toggle switch because it just makes plugging your wires in so much easier. And once you got it all plugged back in, just reinstall it. But you just needed to put it in place just so you had it, you know, the nicest, you know, you ain't got a bunch of extra wire and stuff like that, and you got your distance proper. And do the same for your plug wire. As stated before, it does not matter which one I use, so I just flipped a coin. And there you have that. Again, guys, this stuff is not brain science. It's just you're dealing with a guy that has extreme meticulous issues with OCD. But I'm very detailed, and I want you to know everything because some people need to be told that. That's why we have stupid signs for everything. Don't touch that. That's hot. Yeah, right. Uh-oh. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to run my wires through there. Okay, so back out with this guy. But anyways, when you go to mount this, it's just pretty much all about which way you want this to turn on and off. That's all. Oh man, speaking of my OCD, I had to take that sticker off. It was killing me. It was just slightly not straight. Another hindsight, afterthought here. Well, I didn't think about it. You need to put those terminals on before, after you run the wires through, because they ain't gonna fit to that little slot. So I got two choices. I can either cut these terminals off, which I can't do that because I've only brought one extra terminal with me. So I'm gonna have to go with plan B, which is to drill a hole bigger. I'm not gonna bore y'all with drilling this hole and everything, but I just wanted to tell you that get something to remove, like maybe acetone or alcohol or something, remove the sticky. But just get it with a 1/4 inch from here, and you can still utilize that, and it kind of doesn't make it look like it's an afterthought anyway. But the hole is kind of important. You can ping it with a center punch if you want to. The pilot does recess into the with the Blair cutters, so yeah, see what I mean? Makes it look like it was supposed to be that way. Now only me and you know. It's not like I'm putting this on YouTube. Alright, at this point, go ahead and connect this guy, because it's going to run through the back here. Alright, run those two up like that, and reconnect it to your toggle switch. Reinstall your toggle switch. You may want to put a little sheath on this, since this thing is going to be somewhat vibrating. It's pretty solid base though, but you might want to sheath it a little bit, just keep it from chafing over time. And there you have it. Okay, so for those of you who don't know how toggle switches work, first off, you shouldn't even probably be doing a job like this, but I'm not chastising, it just is what it is. But it's basically just a local disconnect. It's just an on and off switch. It just breaks a circuit. So a circuit, not circus. So it doesn't matter which pole you put it on. It's just breaking breaking these two from touching each other. That's it. And then making them touch each other again. All right, guys, let's see what we got. That's your off position right there with that little groove. Yeah. Well, I'm sure glad it's spinning that way and not the other way. That's it, guys. That's making $100 back when those things give out on you, and apparently they give out a lot. So there's your fix it. All right, y'all. Okay, guys. For those of you who's scratching your head right now and wondering why didn't Tony just return it, for two reasons. One, these things are notorious for going out for that little switch that they have. And two, the POS company that makes them don't warranty them. They kind of got a monopoly on theirs. I guess they're the only ones that make them, and they don't warranty electronics. I know. I know. I know. All right.